I got a question on that real quickly. The gang culture though in itself, isn't that connection though? Isn't that an attempt to get into that larger mentality or mindset? Even if the mindset may not be that those may agree with, it is the attempt of getting out of individuality and getting into that group setting.
If you believe that Minnesota produces this positivity, right, which is great, you cannot not believe that Minnesota does not also breed a negative aspect.
They can get a job quick. It may not be the job that they want, but they can get a job quick. You know what I'm saying? They get a job within a week. You know what I'm saying? Like I've been through that. Wait a minute.
We got entirely too many young black brothers who can't get a job to be saying that a job they can get a job in a week. Yeah. That's a goddamn lie. What's happening? This Gator.
What's happening, everybody? This Mamba.
And it's the Gator and Mamba show.
Welcome to another episode of The Truest Two.
Truest Two, you put titles to your shit now?
I'm just calling it how I see it,
The
homeboy.
motherfucker get one more viewer and now niggas is the truest. All right, go ahead.
You say you don't talk truth? Transparency?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, then we the truest.
Okay.
Thus far.
Okay.
So I want to get everything started. We got a great show today. Interesting show. A show that kind of goes back to our somewhat of the origin aspect and everything that was happening at a specific time. And I ain't gonna get into detail with it because I want to ask you, how was your weekend?
My weekend was off the chain. So.
Damn, off the chain.
Off the chain.
You ain't never said that.
Watch this. So I threw Nana a 65th birthday party, right? So again, these old folks, right? So my mind say, well, how do you entertain old folks? And so I came up with some games I created myself, right? Black Jeopardy and a Wheel of Fortune, but the black version, and R&B bingo, you know what I mean? And The Price is Right, right? And so I got them in for prizes and shit, right? I got them in here playing these games, right? I got they every attention, boy, every move, boy. I say, look that way, and then look. All of them. So I'm like, oh yeah, and then it worked so well. These old folks, right? They stayed to midnight. You know, I'm ready to go to bed at 10 o'clock. I'll be like, come on now.
Right, for real.
And they just wouldn't leave.
You kept their attention.
Yep. Passed gummies around as you thought this was the 80s with cocaine on the tray. This is gummies on the tray.
Want a bump?
You a little gummy. All of them, right? All of them with a big ass smile. You know, all of them, somebody got their back hurt, somebody knee hurt. You know, all of them took them gummies, boy. They all was smiling at the end of the night. That's why they didn't want to leave.
That's dope as shit.
Yeah.
So hold up. You thought of all of that, them types of, that took some time, didn't it? Them types of games.
Yeah.
So you broke all of that shit down and was like, let me figure it out, the black version.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm actually finna package that shit. Yeah, I'm finna package that shit up.
Okay, sell that shit.
Package that shit up. Oh,
definitely.
Yeah. We got my daughter helping me with it right now.
Well, that sounds like an amazing weekend, especially when we get to let our elders feel young again.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's dope. That's dope. All right. Well, let's
How
see.
about you, nigga? What's going on with you?
This weekend, let's see, I was a single father, if you will, this weekend.
Responsible and shit.
Right.
Yep.
I had to focus my attention on my 7-year-old, and it's been a while since it's just been like a one-on-one kind of thing. But I must tell you that it was, man, that didn't get talk a lot. Like, goddamn, like I like without the other party there. Like it's not, because it's never focused on me. It's like mom, and I can black that shit out. Like I'm doing whatever, so I don't pay attention. But now it's just me. It's like, Dad, did you know? Dad. I'm like, God damn, like I'm listening to you. And then when you act like you ain't listening to him, he's still like, Dad, did you hear me? And then he'll throw a little front. I guess you're not listening to me right now. Right? It's like, no, I'm listening
I
to
bet you heard that.
He be so salty, so I feel bad. So I'm like, no, son, I'm listening to you. I just couldn't focus right now. But it was a lot of that, right? But not only a lot of that, like he actually said that he had a great time with me because, me, I'm like, what can we do? I'm not about to sit in the house and chillax and let you either play the game or watch TV and shit like that. That's not my style. So we went to the mall. I bought him a gang of fucking clothes. I bought this nigga a necklace. Like because he been talking about my necklace. He's like, Dad, I really wish I could. Like he says it under his undertone, like, wish I could have a necklace. That kind of shit. Instead of saying, Dad, can I have one? Be like, wish I could have one. I guess I'm not old enough yet. Right? Shit like that. So I finally get there and we walking through the mall or whatever. And he's just like, yeah, having a good time. Bought him his little Power Ranger toy and all this other shit. Bought him his stuff. Bought some food, bought some candy, all this shit. And then we happened to walk through this jewelry store. Nigga, this is what I'm talking about. Y'all see this bullshit?
You had to walk through
Do y'all see this bullshit?
Store?
Oh, it's a business text.
I just turned it off for you, man.
It's the same shit that happened on the
You just forgot what you were saying, nigga.
Anyway, so we walking in the mall and we walk towards this jewelry store type thing or whatever. And I just happened to walk in there. He was like, he didn't really say nothing. He didn't ask for nothing, anything like that, which actually made me proud because I'm like, okay, now I'm really finna set you up because you ain't asked for nothing. You ain't like, ooh, this is great and shit like that, which if we go into a toy store, candy store, or anything like that, he's always asking or whatever. But this time he was cool and collective. So I'm like, you putting icing on the cake. So I got him a necklace or whatever. But after I got him the necklace, he's like, Dad, can I have a, he was looking for a pendant and shit. I was like, hey, you got to make sure that you take care of this motherfucker before you go to the next level. But anyway, my whole thing with him this weekend was actually pretty fucking great because just as far as guys deal with they boys, he got to really feel that one-on-one, and I dig that. You know what I'm saying? It's like, dude, you ain't got to talk all the time, so we chill. Or, dude, you ain't got to ask for that, just go do it. Or, just stuff that with his mom he would ask, like, Dad, could you just, your mom, can I? I'm like, you see it over there, go ahead. So do what you do.
You did, showed them the male
manhood.
side.
Yes,
Bravo.
That's right. That's right.
What men's do in situations, even in situations where they got their kid by themselves. And then they ask their homeboy, hey, man, what you doing? I'm going to come to your 65-year-old party
shut
so you can help me babysit. This nigga came over and left the kid gone, and the kid had been running around with my daughter all for hours. Nigga, don't nobody know who, and where is. And I'm like, this nigga think he's slick. He trying to get somebody to help babysit.
But I still.
And trying to tell
First
the
of all,
audience.
I didn't take edibles, and I didn't drink all excessively because I'm like, I gotta take this nigga home, so I'm good.
You was. I couldn't eat nothing.
Right. It's like, I can't do nothing of that because I got to take the boy home or whatever.
Yeah.
But it was a good weekend, man. Obviously, it was a good weekend for both of us. But let's get to the meat and potatoes of today's show, if you will. In 2020, in May of 2020, George Floyd was murdered, and the whole, I can't even say, Minnesota didn't change. The whole fucking world changed. If y'all remember, like, even in like your Pakistan, your France or whatever, they was like Black Lives Can't Matter and all this other shit. It was
Sweden.
all Sweden.
I remember they took
all
situation.
over the place, man.
Yeah.
Like, that shit ain't never happened. The world ain't never gave a fuck about a black person dying until that particular point. And that's why we keep emphasizing George Floyd and particularly that particular incident. So we want to bring somebody up who was influential in a lot of stuff that they ain't going to talk about. They're not going to talk about it. You're not going to see it on no news station. It's not a common conversation that happens, but us on the ground floor, we knew shit was happening. We talk to each other. We work with each other. And these people need to be highlighted. So I want to bring to the stage Brother Guns. Brother Guns, can you step to the stage, please?
This ain't no goddamn stage, but, one of my man, the Guns coming through. What's happening? You know it.
Appreciate you, brother. All right, so Guns is here, and he was beyond influential and a really intriguing part of the chess pieces when it came to all of this shit organizing to where we are today. And we're going to discuss that. But the first thing I want to ask you is, where were you when George Floyd was murdered?
Oh, I saw it on the TV. I was here in Minnesota. I saw it on the news like everybody else. And then from that point, you know, I went through the same processing thing, like the same processing stage like everybody else. Like, did that really just happen? Like, you know, couldn't believe it. Like, wow, like, man, they got this on tape. Like, it was just, you know, a shock, you know. But at the same time with that shock, rage, anger, you know. So, I don't know, can we cuss?
Did you?
Cause nigga, what?
Oh, okay.
What the fuck we talking about?
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
I was pissed the fuck off. You know
So
what I'm
if
saying?
y'all want to know, the niggas asked, he asked, can we cuss? Nigga, fuck it.
Yeah,
We
okay.
say what the fuck we want to say.
Yeah, okay,
That's
yeah.
why they mad at us now. Goddamn.
Yeah. So yeah, I was pissed off. You know, rage, anger. You know, I already had a strong feeling towards law enforcement. You know, and surprisingly, like, I mean, it took for us as a people, I could say, to go to experience that whole thing, and then the after effects. It took for all of that to happen to develop a new outlook for law enforcement. You know what I mean? Like a new type of, because we went through the anger part, but then when we went through the whole being angry, then it was that void. It was that void of law enforcement. And then that's when it was the lawlessness, you know? And it was only so much that those of us that were boots on the ground, there's only so many things that we could address at once, and so many, you know, so much we could do, you know, like that's trying to help. Then it got to a point like, damn, we need the police need to come around here and do something, you know?
So I got a question. So you eventually, at that particular time, was boots on the ground, right?
Yes.
And we've been in Minnesota.
Wait.
You've been in Minnesota. What?
Wait.
Nigga, don't cut me off
Well,
when I'm in the middle of my
I,
shit.
I do apologize. But how about we just talk about how do the brother know each? I know the nigga and you know him, and I don't think we know him in the same platform. Could we discuss that a little bit first?
Yeah, we didn't go
Maybe.
into background, huh? Okay.
Yikes.
Well, you
So,
know,
Brother Guns, what is your relevance towards either
No,
individual?
nigga. How you know him? I'm gonna tell you how I know him.
This nigga gonna you want to
Yeah,
run
you-
the show
you-
by
you-
you?
yeah,
You
you-
seem like you got it. You go ahead.
Well, I believe that the true knights of our community have been really intertwined in our community for some time. And so, you know, Brother Guns, please forgive me if I'm speaking or misspeaking, but I know the nigga from the streets. And so, you know, most of us got a bit of a street connection. And I'm sure you know him from somewhere different. And I just want to, you know, be distinctive between how I know him and
Gotcha,
how you, because I ain't been in them platforms that you've been in.
Agreed. That's actually pretty fucking relevant.
yes. Well, I come from a street background, you know, heavy in the gang culture and the gang life of understanding that lifestyle. Coming from Milwaukee and coming here, you know, in '96. You know, I come from that, you know, tribe, organization, clique, set, whatever you want to call it. But, you know, there's a group of us that call, you know, we it's called organization because of the way the concept and the theory and the belief. So it's not like your typical gang, like have certain gangs are very territorial. So coming from that culture, growing up in it, from my personal experience, also developing a understanding of other people's way of living, like what they creed, what they believe in. So, growing up in that, going through the whole thing where when you say that you was something, you have to be willing to fight for it. Versus, today is real trendy. It's like, people just jump out there and claim affiliation to something, but they haven't put in no work. There's nothing, they haven't done anything to what gives them that credibility to claim what they say that they're claiming. Or they just don't even know what they're claiming. What's the purpose of it, So coming from that, understanding my purpose, understanding my belief, and understanding, the direction of where people who come from the same background as myself, where are we supposed to be going? What are we supposed to be doing? I knew that frontwards and backwards. I was a firm believer in it. I'm still a believer in that concept, because I believe it's good for Black people as far as us working together, coming together, overcoming the obstacles that are in front of us, how important it is to embrace our biggest strength, which is our unity, and then also our ability to communicate with each other. That's a huge strength when we know how to effectively use those things, like we're not in a place to be antisocial. So that gang mentality of being like, I'm over here, you're over there, we're just not in no space to be like that no more. We need to be in communication with each other.
I got a question on that real quickly. The gang culture though in itself, isn't that connection though? Isn't that an attempt to get into that larger mentality or mindset? Even if the mindset may not be that those may agree with, it is the attempt of getting out of individuality and getting into that group setting.
You're absolutely right. That is the initial purpose. What clouded that was personal conflicts and personal misunderstandings. It was never the intention of the gangs that came into existence. It was never the intention, we're going to come into existence to beef with you. Mm-hmm. That was never the intention. That happened along the way. And then just like with the notorious things that a lot of the gangs what make them so notorious, a lot of those things, again, came along the way. That was never the intention, like the drug selling and this and that. Mm-hmm. You take Black people that's in a community with not many resources, and then you put these drugs in front of them, and they can make a quick dollar. They're gonna take advantage of that. You know what I mean?
Well, wait. Can we frame it in this manner? If I am a guy who has 20 people who I'm responsible for, then I need to enterprise as much or as best as I can in order to supply and or feed these 20 people, right? So no matter how I got to do that, i.e. survival, I'm going to do that to survive.
Right.
If you take every avenue away from me in survival, the laws of nature tells me that I get to try to survive no matter what.
Yeah, you're gonna do what you can.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're gonna do what that's like that's what I'm saying. Like you put, people in the hood, hell, they don't have a whole lot of opportunity, and then if like you say, it's 20 of us, we say we brothers and we trying to eat, what we gonna do? If there's not many resources, but then over here, this person say they're gonna give us a couple ounces. I mean, we don't want to do it, but then they put in that position. But now on the bright side of that is I'm not glorifying that, because with that came a whole lot of bad stuff. You know what I mean? With that came a lot of bad. A lot of people lost their lives. People went to jail, and a lot of families were damaged behind that when the streets went through that phase. But now it's like the guys like myself that come from the origin of knowing the true purpose, the true intent. Now it's like, let's get back to the original purpose. Like, it's not about claiming affiliation. It's not about, glorifying a color, a flag, a set, or a particular organization. It's not about glorifying that. It's about, let's glorify the principles, the dignified principles, and the moral concept.
Who is us?
The ones who say that they believe in it. You know what I mean?
So not all of us. So you ain't talking about all of black folks. Are you talking about a portion of black folks?
Well,
and who is that portion?
Well, the ones who come from that lifestyle, it's like they already know. They should know this. You know what I mean? They know this, but they also know at what point, when did I abandon my real purpose? They know when everything went wrong. Like, they know when they first started selling dope. They know when they first picked up a pistol and got into that whole lifestyle of negativity and stuff that just took us backwards. So when you, like, a lot of guys that get to a point in life where they're done with that part of their life, it's like, okay, they got all this knowledge of what things supposed to be, but now what do we do? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if you have a voice, what I strive to speak to, I strive to speak to those who can relate to what I'm talking about. Because if you come from that lifestyle, it don't matter. I try to speak to what we have in common versus our differences. Yeah. Because
get up on your mic, man.
I try to speak to what we have in common versus our differences. And collectively, when you look at the different black street tribes and organizations, gangs, cliques, etc., when you look more at what we have in common, it's powerful. And the things that they all have in common is they all speak to self-empowerment, self-improvement, and community. There's every single gang, clique, organization.
Yep.
Those are the main base fundamentals.
So I got a thing that I want to add, or I want to go back, because you speak on fundamental truths in regards to no matter what gang, whenever you sign up, whenever you go in, there's a fundamental principle and understanding when it comes to it. So I want to also introduce the fact of how we know each other. So we know each other through Freemasonry.
Yep.
Anchor Area Lodge number 2, right? So we know each other through this principle. And if you historically look at Freemasonry when it comes to black folks, you'll see your Black Wall Street. You'll see a bunch of elements like that, right? So these were our first attempts, if you will, post reconstructive slavery and stuff like that, Reconstruction period, trying to be like, okay, we ain't slaves no more, but we need to get together and do something, right? Now, that's not saying at that time there weren't these other organizations, whatever, at that time, but the most influential to say we need to get together and structure and build something started in the sense of America for the most part is with Freemasonry. So with Freemasonry came a lot of other elements or whatever after that. With Freemasonry came your Panthers, your Black Panthers. With Freemasonry came...
Wait.
This nigga.
What is
this is the rude episode. Let's call this the rude episode.
What is Freemason? I mean, I got questions along. Is it okay if I ask a question? I'm not no Freemason. I want to know what is it. I understand.
Let me speak to that real quick. Before I lose the thought. To speak to that real quick, I'm glad you brought that up. Because
he's still asking what the fuck is Freemasonry, nigga, when we done.
I'm a slightly go there with it. Because I grew up in that lifestyle, in that culture of the street organization, being around gangs, that lifestyle, people on the outside looking in, they see,
negative
niggas,
yep.
they up to no good.
Yep.
Me growing up, these are the people I climbed trees with. We built forts. We played outside. We flipped on mattresses. You know what I'm saying? We formed a brotherhood. You know, we found something that we all latched onto, and we walked to school together. We came home together. It was that whole togetherness thing. So Of course, it wasn't for everybody because, you know, you got people that's got different personalities. They may not want to be like that. Some people are introverted. They don't want to, you know, be like that. But me, I would, you know, I love the fact, you know, I call them my brothers, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, you know, I had a lot of uncles, you know, my father was in and out of jail, stuff like that. My mom's only child, you know. So, and I had a gang of cousins. So when I would be around like a lot of people, my most social interaction was when I go to my grandmother's house. So that's why I be around all my cousins and all my uncles, and I'm in the hood, you know. And then, you know, I'm going back and forth to school. You know, I'm just, like I say, that's how I pick up on that whole lifestyle. So after, when you live like that, it becomes a part of you, and it's like, it's just part of how you, it's like your mind thinks like this is how we should be as black people. You don't see nothing wrong with it, but people on the outside looking in, they see it as something bad. So
And right now, you talking about at that time gang culture, and what you wanted from it, what you got from it,
right, and
which is brotherhood and family,
right. And I say all that to support what you were, to piggyback off what you were saying. That's why I got into Freemasonry as an adult, because as a youth, I thrived, you know, being amongst, you know, my brothers, you know. And it wasn't bad. We didn't live that criminal lifestyle. I mean, yeah, everybody hustled, tried to make $1 or $2, but no one wanted to be extremely violent and commit crimes and do all that. It's just, unfortunately, a lot of that stuff is what comes with it when you're living that lifestyle or breaking rules, you know. So as an adult, as an adult, you grow, you get more wiser, you get more mature, your priorities change, your responsibilities change, and you change as a person. However, my core belief is still, I appreciate brothers coming together, doing something, wanting to be better. Being about self-improvement, being around other brothers that want to do good for themselves. Because if you're around a group of positive brothers and they're all thriving to do something, even if you don't have no motion, they're going to inspire you to get some motion or find some motion, you know? So I became intrigued about Freemasonry, and then primarily Prince Hall. I heard, there's a black version, you know, that's how I was thinking. So Prince Hall, Freemasonry, I'm like, hey, you know, I want to be a part of that, you know? Because what I got from it was, you know, the brothers were distinguished. They were like the elite black brothers, and that's how my perception on the outside looking in. I wanted to be a part of that. You know, I wanted to be a part of that. I wanted to be around black brotherhood and black men that wanted to do good.
So that's ultimately the quote unquote bloodline that intrigued folks. Like, I wasn't in a gang, but I was affiliated well enough to where I appreciated the brotherhood. I appreciated cats that had my back and I had their back, and we all had inspiration and thoughts. When we sat down and talked with each other, we build with each other and stuff like that. The same to where that transition into Freemasonry. It's like we sit down and these brothers inspire, and I knew the history. The history was y'all did exactly what I'm thinking. Y'all did. And in terms of Black Wall Street, y'all sat together and said, hey, I'm a lawyer, I'm a doctor, I'm a this, that, and the other. Let's get together and let's build a fucking city. Right? That kind of thing. And that's even transitioning into things like even the Black Panthers and whatnot. Yeah. Go ahead.
You keep talking about transitioning to Black Panthers. Before you go there, I need to know, what is a Freemason? And before you tell me, I do know that George Washington was a Mason.
Yes.
So if George Washington was a Mason and you added the word free, does that mean that they're two different things?
They're all Freemason.
Okay. So now we know that the whole line from George Washington on down,
Freemason.
Same shit.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you explain to anybody, to me, what how do you be black and or white, or what's the difference?
Well, to me, I'm gonna tell you. To me, this is my general understanding.
Wait, before you give me some bullshit.
Just
hold
like
on,
he
before you give me some bullshit. He mentioned Prince Hall, and you know, seeing that I ain't no full dummy, I know that that's some type of lineage break off from the traditional
which
masonry.
I was about to explain, but your dumbass interrupted me before I did that.
I'm sorry.
So as I was going to say, being that I'm a history person, I'm a very astute history person. So even when I joined to be a Freemason on the what is it, 4-letter blue, so blue side,
Blue Lodge.
right? The Blue Lodge, right? The Blue Lodge is black. Red Lodge is white, right? I'm not totally sure, but I'll say this: there is a distinctive difference between one and the other.
Yeah.
And it's like 4-letter and 3-letter. Those are the things that they say. But I knew one side was, when you say one side, it's all white folks.
Primarily
When you
white.
say
Yeah.
this side, it's all black folks for the most part.
So hold on, because I got questions along the way. So you mean to tell me that it started off as a white organization?
Correct.
And somehow or another, niggas got a hold of it.
No,
Nope,
not actually.
nope,
Not
nope,
actually. It
no.
actually it comes from
Egypt.
It really
Ancient-
comes from our original practices.
Ancient
to be,
Kemetic
to be
practices.
truthful. It comes from
Well, wait. I don't want you to confuse me. You're saying a white man used our practices?
Yes,
Yeah.
as they
Okay,
did.
then nigga,
as
the
they
white
did with
man still
Greek.
created it.
yeah.
What are we talking about?
No, that's not true.
No,
Basically-
it's absolutely
No,
true.
it's not.
This is
No, it's
this.
not.
Let me tell you what's 100% true. If I create something, I can then act any way I want with my creation.
So Greeks did not create the Pythagorean theorem or anything of that nature. They have put in history that they have studied in Kemet, and then they just recreated and did whatever they did in regards to their philosophy, their way of being.
I get it, but that's
So
not
it's
what
the
you
same
just
thing.
said. No, it's
It's
not.
the
That's
s-
not what you just
Nigga,
said.
that
You
is just
said
what I
a
just
white
said.
man created the masonry. You said it.
The-
A white
the-
man
the-
created it.
the
So you
philosophy-
can't say that he of course he get to use any information that he got prior to making it to make his shit.
I think the right way, not the white way to, but the right way to probably say that is, let's say, I think it's safe to say, the Europeans packaged it and resold it and sold
Yeah,
it
there
a
you
certain
go.
way.
There you go.
You know, it was something
That we've been practicing for millennia.
But
Okay.
other people,
Okay.
but
Now
they
you
took that
got me.
and they packaged it and they presented it a certain way as if it was theirs.
So kind of like they doing now with
Yeah.
even hip hop, whatever we doing it. They
With
package
everything?
it up
Yep.
and sell it.
Yep.
Same thing that they were
and
Greece.
then, and
Same
then the thing about it too is like the further that you travel in Freemasonry, the more that you learn, the more in depth that you
Yeah,
learn,
yeah.
the
more
more
that you
the
know it's
more
us.
it connects to
Yeah,
us.
it goes back directly to us.
Exactly, it goes right back directly to us, and that's the big secret.
And so by being a Freemason, you then essentially connect from this self to a more connected self with ancient ties.
to our original teachings.
Yes.
To
Yes.
who we were originally.
and
Because
that would be
Freemasonry-
symbolism and all type of practices and ways
Yes.
that suggest that this is something that we did or that was seen somewhere before
Yes.
a white man got a hold of it.
Correct.
Because
Well,
the-
here's the question.
Because the thing is, they're with the teachings of it, because these things are all documented by ancient texts and by hieroglyphics and those type of transcripts. That they can't lie about that part because it's all written. They're just revealing things that we should have studied already. But it's just a way to reconnecting us back to it. And yes, and Freemasonry have inspired a lot of things when it comes to organizing and just the way our whole system works. How there's levels to things. There's so many different things that's right in our face. That inspired by Freemasonry.
Yeah, symbolism, a lot of that
Yeah.
that's going on, and secret meaning, double entendres, and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
As above, so below.
However, I want to know, with the state of the black man in this country, how does a practice that eventually leads to a black self still becomes dominated by white influence and or go ahead to change the practice if he say so?
Well, that's I mean, that's just historically looking at the fact of white supremacy and dominance just in general.
Well, how did it become true? How does it stay true?
Rewriting history using violence and abuse to structure history. Now you have the platform to influence and say what is without any question, without any backing.
Yes, and also I want to say something before I lose the thought. How you said, how do what you just said, but to speak to that part, that's why, I personally, I feel it's important, and I feel it's important, and I feel that it's a very good thing when black men find themselves in a position where they're connected, or they're in a room full of resources, or they're in a room full of people that are thriving and success. That's men that's trying to go somewhere, trying to do something. So here's the thing, though. So by becoming part of something that's viewed as elite, or that's viewed as, there's this prestige, this elite, there's this greatness to it. What makes it that is what the people are doing that's a part of that. What type of, when they do things, how powerful are the moves that they make? What type of influence do they have? That's why it's like, as the brothers that's now find themselves in that position, we have to be just as wise and know how to utilize each other and work with each other and use our resources to also do great things. Because when you think about it, how they say the Illuminati and all this type of stuff, right? So the beauty is if black men were part of something great and we start thinking on that type of level, imagine what type of things we can do. Like start thinking, not small stuff, but, we find ourselves in a space where there's a couple hundred of us, and it's like, well, I'm bound to, I want to see you be successful. Mm-hmm. Whatever that means, whatever that looks like, and whatever it takes. Let's make sure you're successful, because it's good for not only you, but it's good for us as a collective. It'll open some doors. It'll create some opportunities. Let's make sure that happens. Now, to us, that may seem kind of, well, that's big. That's big talk. That's, you're talking big. But to them, they've been talking like that. Mm-hmm. They've been talking like that. They've been doing that. When I say them, I mean, white folks.
So
wait, before you start, because I got a question. I've been waiting to respond Now,
Stickers on Brood session.
Here's my question. Joint. Here's my question, though. Here's my question. As to what you said, this is an organization that teaches me, black, to know my higher and or blacker self through history and ancient practices that has been around me my whole life that I can have really paid no attention to. But the black leaders in this community are dominated by white men who don't even allow my black man to approach my black self to even invite me to said group. Because y'all don't let anybody in, right?
Well,
that's not true.
To appropriately address that.
The term is to be one, ask one.
Yep.
That's it.
What?
To be one, ask one.
And then also Freemasonry.
Nigga, I've known you for years. You ain't asked me shit.
No, you have to ask
To
him.
be one, nigga, ask one.
Right.
Well, I gotta ask, so I can't just.
But then also too, I want to put something out there too.
And what type of fucking secret shit is that? Nigga, I gotta ask you. Like, how the fuck I supposed to know? I gotta ask you. You could tell me that. You could tell me the saying it be one ass one, like you said right here, in front of millions of people.
It's the same thing with anything with life. If you want to be MIB, nigga, do we go? Yeah, we advertise, but when motherfuckers put their application in, they say, "Hey, I want to be a part of MIB." You ask because you see something and you want to be a part of something.
And you'll ask somebody that's from MIB.
Yeah,
You know, but
it's a commonality.
also I want to put some correction out there real quick.
Okay.
Freemasonry is not about color. It's not about race. Prince Hall,
wait. If you're teaching me to be black, if you're saying that it goes back to my roots as a black man, as a black person, the strength of me, then it is all about me. Because if it goes back to me and I'm here now, that means every bit of the way is about me.
Right, but you know what? We are so great as a people to where
we allow somebody to come in and stab us in the back and take over us and enslave us and put us in chains.
Those were.
Well, it's happened.
It's happened. Right. So I'm just want to know.
But we were
manipulated. Let me step in, guns. Let me step in. And I'm only going historically because I always go historically. Right. There's a reason why you can say, "Oh, we allow whatever," but as we transition throughout history, we've attempted to make these changes and these adjustments in our community, in our culture, et cetera, et cetera. So we may have started, again, from the Reconstruction period to be like, okay, well, this particular element, which is Freemasonry, right? This may be something that, as far as the Prince Hall aspect, that was introduced from them. But as we started to study more and we started to retract and see that it was King Solomon, and so on and so forth. You're not letting me finish. You're busy talking, flapping your gums, and you're not listening.
Okay, I think it was retract.
So King Solomon and all these individuals in Egypt and Kemet made a difference in terms of how we connected. Now, let's say at a certain time period, now, let's say the United States is like, hey, these niggas are starting to pay a lot of attention to themselves. They starting to build communities. They starting to build cities. Now then, they start to introduce things like drugs and so on and so forth to break the family piece apart. Now, in terms of the how we operate, just as a community,
how did they break the family apart?
As we operate as a community, now it's not the same structure as Reconstruction. Now he's like, hey, man, we out here, what we got to do? So now there's a quote-unquote gang element. Or maybe there's actually, now that I think of it, it's not even a gang element yet. There is a higher learning element because that's where the Greek institutions came. When the Greek institutions came after Freemasonry, then it's like, well, not everybody wants to go to college, right? There's still some niggas that's still left on the block. Where do we fit in? And then that transitions into the want to be a part of something or whatever, and that transitions into a Black Panther element. We ain't talking about gangs yet. It was Black Panthers first. The Black Panthers came in and said, this is the structure.
Black Panthers had a specific purpose.
You're not listening.
Purpose.
You're not listening. And
completed that objective.
Everything that I stated, every organization that I stated in that regard, whether it's brotherhood or whatever, has had the same opposition. All of them is about community, is about building up, is about uplifting, it's about being better, and about staying together.
Except for your Masonry, because it's been controlled from the beginning from a white man.
That wouldn't be true. If
that wasn't your organization from the very beginning.
If that was true, there would be no Omega Psi Phi's. If that was true, there would be no Black Panther Party. If that was true, there would be no GD and Vice Lords.
You're a goddamn lie. You're a lie.
How so?
Because throughout the time since we touched foot in this country, we have overcome every single boundary that's been put in front of us. Every single thing.
How?
By however our imagination.
But how specifically?
Pick a time and pick a way.
Okay. So
Okay, my ass, nigga. Tell me something. Let's get to it.
The way is getting together, gathering together, and being community and being on one accord. That's
okay,
how we
that's
have
the way.
always been.
Sure.
So we have done so, whatever
Sure.
you want to call it. If you want to call it with slave revolts or whatever, that's when we came together as a community. If you
Sure.
want to talk about transitioning from that Reconstruction period, we have all of that documented.
Sure.
So all of it is about coming together as a community.
Okay.
One
Are we
divide,
arguing?
one accord.
Are we
and
arguing?
deciding to manifest that.
Okay.
And all the
I
things that
agree.
I've said just now have illustrated that.
Ain't none of that shit you said about Freemasonry though.
All of it starts
I'm
from
just
something.
simply saying that this has been a white man controlled group since the beginning, and you believe that you can infiltrate it and turn it into yours, but it originated from him.
So
It's his ideas.
You think
And everything that he has invented has turned out. If you look at history,
you think
has
gangs
turned out to
you think
turn
gangs
and,
are not
and get us
controlled
in-
by the white man?
It was never, that white man was never able to infiltrate
You
GD.
think gangs are not controlled by the white man?
was never able to infiltrate GD, nigga.
Guns specifically said that hey, we
What's
had
happening?
a total understanding at one time, but there were things that were that were off tilt, right?
Yeah,
So some of those
like-
things are drugs, right?
Yeah, let me say
Hold
this.
on. Drugs, right? Drugs were
Wait a
brought
minute,
in, right?
we got to guess you holding this nigga on to be in the
Is that
room
correct?
and shit.
Is
We
that-
apologize. We argue. Let's. Can we get
So
some?
one of the things that
What
that
you
fucked
said
up
don't make no sense no more.
gangs, if you will, is drugs, money.
Yeah.
No, nigga, they enterprise that use drugs to give them their
they
supplies.
They use drugs. Who's they? White man?
I wouldn't just say
Gangs, us, we.
Who brought drugs into the community?
I would
Who
say-
gives a fuck, nigga? We used
Exactly.
it as a motherfucking tool. It was
Case
a
in
tool.
point.
Wait a minute.
Checkmate,
Wait,
motherfucker.
you ain't checkmate. I bet you rewind this shit. You don't even know what you're talking
Checkmate,
about.
motherfucker.
But here's the deal. We ran numbers, nigga. Before there was drugs.
Now there's
we
a
ran
lottery.
numbers.
Now there's a lottery. White man runs that. Keep talking. Go ahead. Keep
nigga,
talking.
white man got that shit from us.
But they run
But-
it
but-
now.
but-
So you see how you just said that? Same thing. You see how things.
But none of us run the lottery right now.
Right.
Cause we out that game.
However,
We got into other shit.
there are some of us that own casinos and own things where you can bet. They may not
Sure.
own, they may not own the whole enterprise, but they do have an end somehow.
White man brought drugs.
Yeah.
We still get locked
Like-
up
like-
and for
All I'm
drugs.
saying is your portion of masonry all black without any white influence.
That's not what masonry said.
Well, no, see, because the thing of masonry
Everything
is
that
about,
we're
it's
in
about
here
the
in now
betterment of
has a white
mankind.
influence.
I'm just listen. I'm
It's the
just not
betterment of
about.
mankind.
I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just about it being black without a white influence because we need to heal with each other. We need to get back with each other, and this white man can't be involved in it at all.
But he
we
has
can't
been.
have it.
Yeah.
But
In
I don't give a fuck if
everything.
he has been. Fuck
In
him.
everything.
He can't be no more.
He has
He's
been.
out.
He has been.
Nigga, he's
He
out.
has been.
He's out. That nigga's out. He's fired, nigga.
Well, like I say, that comes with to implement that thinking. That's some work you got to do to completely erase them
It
out
ain't
the
no work we
equation.
gotta do. All we gotta do is stop, drop, and say, hey,
it's still work.
anything that's
Yeah.
black, we move together as one.
I like that. I do. Now, but I want to speak to something because y'all make some good points, and I'll say things that spark.
Don't sit too far from the mic, man.
Oh, so if we're gonna talk about the one part of the street lifestyle, we also got to talk about what started it too, because like when we go back to us coming here, or there's different facts that exist. There's the story of what we were brought here, but then there's also the thing of we were already here.
Yeah.
So whichever one you want to go with, that we still went through that whole time of racism, where we were attacked when we went to school, when we walked by ourselves, we were attacked. Our women,
Captured and sold.
yeah, our women were attacked. Kids were, it was that racism thing happened. Then also a thing that really happened was, you had white people that they really did hang us from trees. Like that stuff really happened. So in that period of time, when white people, I don't recall no story being told to me about when black folks hung white people from trees.
Maybe in ancient Egypt.
Right.
Nigga,
Maybe
we don't do it.
But I don't.
I mean, I'm just saying that it could have been a time where shit was different.
Maybe it could have been a time, but I'm unaware of it. But the one that I do know of, and the one that I've seen photos of, and what's been repeated to me, and what I believe is, I do know that white folks did lynch and they hung black people from trees, and
they did it to each other.
Yeah, and white folks, they did. You know, they would chase black people and and do bad stuff to them when they by themselves. They would rape the women. Those things really happened. You know, the Emmett Till thing really happened. All that stuff really happened. So, now mind you, all those things were happening to us before the gang stuff came into existence. So, when you look at that, like us as a community, black folks, we got to live somewhere. So we find an area that we're living in, and these different households got children and got kids in there. So they come together, and they're socializing, and they come up with a way. Hey, man, it's safer if we walk to school together. Mm-hmm. It's probably better if we go. Let's go to school together. Let's come home together. So that way they'll be less likely to try to run down on us and do something to it if it's just one versus it's just a group.
By the way, the book that y'all should read that he's talking about in regards to understanding the lynchings in the Jim Crow era is called Without Sanctuary. It's called Without Sanctuary. I have that book, and it changed my whole thought process.
But
I'm
a very
sorry,
important
but go
thing
ahead.
too. I say all that to say that the first gangs were things called like the spook hunters.
Yep.
So, and that's just one that I know. But there's
Patty rollers.
But there were multiple gangs that the white boys they ran, that they were in control of, and that was their purpose. They came together to hunt black folks because they felt a certain way about us. They would catch us and do bad things to us. So, in an answer to that, how do we protect ourselves? That's how that whole mentality came into play.
So then the concept of a gang and or organization being this bad thing is really a motherfucking myth, right?
It's white creative.
Yeah, it's a goddamn myth, right?
Myth.
It was a way for us to stay. Yeah, we did again the drugs, whatever. You give us a way to enterprise,
but that was not the purpose.
But it was just a casualty of you put the shit out there. We gonna make the shit happen.
So the purpose was again for us to come together like community, self-empowerment, and us being there for each other. Even the Latino gangs, because the Latino organizations and the Latino gangs, you got to think about it.
Shout out to Brown Berets.
Yeah,
Brown Beret.
Yeah, they too were viewed, down like how white folks. The way white people back in them days, the way white people viewed black people, African Americans, they looked at Latino people the same way. So the Latinos, they went through some of the same struggles that we went through. So they created, grassroots organizations, youth groups, whatever you want to call them, gangs. They too created movements so that they could be in protection of each other, in protection of the community, so that the kids, the women, and the people can be safe.
Koreans, Puerto Ricans, you name it.
All
marginalized was the same way.
It's a way to grow. It's a way to grow as I think of a immature society. And they're going to be technologically strong in a couple thousand years, but right now they're at their infancy stage, and that's how we are in this country at our infancy stage. You know what I mean? You got to understand, right? They spin this story that you say you seen the pictures of somebody being hung or somebody being, and they try to give you an image that you less than, right? But listen to the story, right? Listen to gods. You know what I mean? Listen to gods that's being made, gods that's naturally gods that came from Egypt that made a whole society. Gods can overcome anything, right? No matter what you threw at us, no matter what you did to us, you beat us in front of our women, right? You sold us and killed and severed our bloodline. You made us the most nothing. You gave us the worst piece of the
hated
pig
on the planet.
that you could possibly give us. You did the worst to us. And still, you got a black man that motherfucking was the president of this goddamn country. Because no matter what, right, we gonna overcome because we got some God blood in us. You know what I mean? Some shit that overcomes many. And that's what all these young black people need to understand is you're a fucking God.
That's right.
Excuse me, I shouldn't even be cussing and saying God in the same sentence. But I did.
Guns, I don't mean to cut you off, but I'm a steer because I want you to tell this story. And I want you to tell the story in regards to, I know we started off with where were you when George Floyd was murdered. At that time, I got my story, and I reached out to my lodge at that time or whatever, and I got the response that I got, or whatnot, and it moved, and we're here today, right? You're a part of the same lodge,
yes,
and I'd like you to tell your story in that particular time period. What happened with you? Because to be honest, my thought process was we was here and then we went like this and then we ended up like this and going forward like that. So can you describe that? So
prior to the George Floyd situation happening, like very right in the same time circumference pretty much, there were some issues happening in Minneapolis, Those things happening in the community. You had different cliques and sets that was fighting with each other. And, I've always been the type of person where it's like if I could do something about a situation to try to de-escalate it or try to speak to somebody somebody that I know that may be involved to either de-escalate it or see if I could talk some sense to them. Is there a better way to deal with this? I would do that. And I that's been a practice of mine because coming from the streets and then also living that whole lifestyle, hustling and all that, it's always good to have good communication skills, being able to have good relationships and talk to, different people. So things were happening and, because of my street background, hustling back in the day, I had a good rapport with some of the influential people in these different cliques, sets, gangs, etc. Because what people don't understand is that a lot of the people that sit in like a high position or have a lot of influence, there was no problem amongst us. There was no beef. It was a lot of the guys in the streets, on the ground level where
foot soldiers.
Yeah, the foot soldiers where a lot of the beef would happen. Because the ones who we're thinking about, hey, we don't beefing don't make no money.
I was a foot soldier premium. Us foot soldiers made shit go round. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Niggas who had status, you couldn't even move without a nigga just being ready to knock a nigga out quickly when you said so. You know what I mean? Yep. Don't try to stun on us.
Yeah. No. You need to see all of those parts of it, the whole parts of the machine. It all helps the bigger picture. But the key is that what is the big picture? What is the goal? What are we trying to do? So to fast forward, well, first let me go to what you're talking about. So I was already, in communications, putting out small fires, in the community with different situations that was happening. You had different areas, they shooting at each other, different cliques. So we put together this community, the collective, the neighborhood network and the community collective, and strength group.
What is that?
Those were considered like different. Well, the nonprofit that I created is called Strength Group. Yep. The concept of Strength Group is about guys from the street all coming together, working together to address the issues in our community.
All from one set, all from one organization, what?
Oh, no. So the motto is we stronger together. So the motto is we stronger together, and there's strength in the group, meaning that by us coming from these different backgrounds in the community, we're qualified to address the issues in the community because we come from them. We once were a part of them. We once were a reason why they are. Some of us played part in them being that way. So we all share the same belief that in order to address the issues in our community, to address the problems and the violence and things like that, it has to come from people that come from that background because we understand it. We understand the language. We understand the mindset. We understand that. So that's why we were able to be so successful in doing that, being able to move and go into different areas, different neighborhoods, and be embraced the way we were embraced because the group consisted of somebody. Everybody was a somebody from some clique, some set, some organization. You know what I'm saying? Everybody was a somebody. But these were the guys that were committed to change. You know what I mean? So they all had a name. They all had a background. They all had a story. But what brought us together, you know, it's like what brought us together today was we're here to address this issue. So, again, it was about speaking to the things that we have in common, speaking to our common interests, you know, because if we was to focus and highlight on like our differences and what we disagree about, that's not gonna get us nowhere. Let's talk about the things we do agree about. Let's focus on the things that we, you know, our common interests, you know. So
can you talk about y'all's initial meeting?
Yeah, so we used to have those meetings in Tangletown. We used to have those Tangletown is an area in Minneapolis. We used to have those meetings over there. Had a Firewell Park, the North Side parks. You know, We'll meet up over there. And what would happen is, like, say if it was a shooting, and say if we knew people people that was involved, we were like, hey man, we got to reach out before this spill over into something else. So we'll call, an emergency family meeting. Because I believed in, by me spearheading this whole thing, I also believe in being as transparent as possible. Because you want to change that whole mentality of, like, we're a nonprofit group, we're a nonprofit organization. Yes, that's our background. We come from that, but we're striving to do something different. We're taking those experiences and those skills that we got from the streets and applying them to something good. How do we become an asset to our community versus being a liability? So it's a lot of different things. You just have to, by me spearheading it, by me leading it, I had to be forward thinking. Like, think about the liabilities. Think about the things that could make us look bad, because there's a thin line between being categorized as a nonprofit organization or a group that's about good, but then there's a thin line between people, oh, they're just a gang. So what that thin line is, what are you doing? Are you, what are you doing? What are your goals? What are your objectives? What are your core beliefs? So things like being transparency is one. If you're not doing nothing wrong, there's no need to be super secretive. However, you do want to protect because we had some very, very influential people that was in support and that would help us navigate these certain situations in the community as far as squashing beef. People that didn't want no spotlight, however, they was in support of what we were doing. So, but again, still being transparent to a degree where it's like, this is family. We're all family. So we're going to have a family meeting to discuss, hey, what can we do about this?
And when you say family, you're talking about a group of individuals from different perspectives or whatever coming together on one accord to say, let's stop basically the violence, the killing, or whatever.
Yes.
Just all together.
Yes. Family meaning we're from the same community.
Yep.
We share the same community. We live here together. So no matter what blocks that we, thinks that separate us, we still live in the same city and state together. So it only makes sense that, like I say, a lot of people come to Minnesota to get away from that. To get away from that whole violence and that gang banging mentality. So you may have a lot of gang members here, but don't nobody want to be actively gang banging that lives here. Because most people that come here, they come here because it's opportunity. Yeah, they may come from the West Coast, East Coast, Midwest. They come from all that. So that's the baggage that they bring with them. So because I'm a firm believer that Minnesota does not breed that type of violence. Minnesota does not breed that type of animal. However,
a gang member could be anywhere, man, at any time, man. You say that when we used to walk around, when there was spook hunters out that we gathered up as a unit to be together so that we could be safe, and that can happen anywhere. At any time. It ain't no type of city or state restrictions and or imaginary lines that'll make that so.
But what I mean by that is, when I say Minnesota don't breed that, that's not, to my understanding. I could be wrong.
I gangbanged in Minnesota, so I mean it was here.
I know, and people do, but that wasn't. I put it like this.
How can you say it wasn't, nigga? It happened. It was there. And you ain't real older than me, so I know you can't be like before our time because we didn't know.
No. What I mean is, Minnesota don't breed that. Minnesota don't 1967. Breed that. The Crips and Bloods got here. Do you know when the Crips and Bloods got here?
This is late 80s.
This is what I do know. This is what I do know for a fact that in 1967 there was a riot over on Plymouth, over North Minneapolis, and because black police brutality and black folks snapped out. Spike Moss was one of them fellas that was in that situation, and so I remember that even then you had some bad black motherfuckers who was gathered together as a unit to say we ain't taking this and we putting our foot down. So at least from 1967 that they've been down in Minnesota getting down.
Right. So check it out. You're absolutely right. But maybe I should be more clear. Minnesota does not breed the type of animal and the type of what we see today. Minnesota does, and it has breed strong black community activists. Minnesota does, and they have breed people that do stand up for the community, people that fight back. Minnesota has a history of breeding that. Minnesota, because the whole riot that happened on Plymouth, I'm aware of that. And then, hell, Minnesota showed the whole country what Minnesota could do. You know what I'm saying? When the George Floyd situation happened, we burnt this motherfucker up. Again. You know what I'm saying?
Not
so
for the second time.
So check it out. So, right. Now that's,
Minnesota breeds some bad black motherfuckers now. It's cold as shit up here, and we get tired quick.
But that's the thing, though. Minnesota does breed that. Minnesota breeds, yes, they do breed that. But the foolishness that we see, that's influence. That's by misguidance. Minnesota don't breed that. So what I'm saying is, I'm saying in a way to compliment Minnesota.
That's a nationally misguided situation, though.
Absolutely.
Because that's our youth everywhere. It ain't just Minnesota. Our youth is influenced, period, based off what they hear, what they see. You know what I mean? These fellas, and I'm gonna say white folks, is spending a lot of money to control the minds of the mass people.
Yeah.
You know, they spend billions and billions of dollars to control your mind. The shit must be working because they keep spending the money.
Right.
And the masses is there are always more younger people, and there are always more older people. Always.
And then
those
also,
are the masses.
And also too, like, so, like, I don't want that to be taken, wrongly, but like I say, Minnesota don't breed the foolishness that we see. From my experience and from, my observation, Minnesota breeds talent. Minnesota breeds breeds entrepreneurs. They breed talent, breeds creativity. Minnesota, it's a good place to come to if you want to, pursue something in your life.
It's not a good place to come to.
Can I say?
Not a good place to come to. It's not a good place to come to. It's too cold, and the white folks is too cold.
I'm gonna put it like this, and this is the reality, just to set this spectrum. Whether you're talking about L.A., whether you're talking about Detroit, whether you're talking about anywhere, everything's on a 1-in-1 spectrum. It's binary, right? So if you believe that Minnesota produces this positivity, right, which is great. You cannot not believe that Minnesota does not also breed a negative aspect, because if you think about this, Minnesota is the second worst state in the entire country for black folks. Why? Well, on the positive stream, right, the median income just altogether is about $150,000+, but that goes to the white man, right? And if you think about the alternate aspect of it, black folks, brown folks, or whatever, it's about $40-something thousand a year. So just as you can think of Minnesota in a positive light, that like there's a lot of stuff going on, there is some shit on the other spectrum or whatever. So
sure it is.
And that's just like any other city, any other state. The bars may be set a little bit different or whatever, but the fact of the matter is, the
You should
United
go live
States
in
is
Oregon.
fucked up for black people just all together.
Portland.
Yeah, I'm sure. But it's just like I say,
Ohio.
just my observation is just like from what
Anywhere
I've
but
seen
Minnesota.
is guys that come up here from everywhere else, they can get a job quick. It may not be the job that they want, but they can get a job quick. You know what I'm saying? They get a job within a week. You know what I'm saying? Like I've been through that.
Wait a minute. We
get
got entirely too many young black brothers who can't get a job to be saying that a job they can get a job in a week.
Yeah.
That's a goddamn lie.
I don't see it.
They are not getting them jobs as fast as you think. Matter of fact,
they may not get the job that they want. That's a difference.
No, they may not get the job that's going to feed their family.
But there's a difference, though.
No, it's not a difference because if I got some child support coming out of my check, if I got the white man on my back trying to take everything, I got daycare to pay up. I got to have some money enough to even live to get on a fucking bus to go to work.
Yeah.
All right,
But I'm saying,
gentlemen,
I've been in a position where, like, I may not have got the job that I wanted, but I was able to get a job. I went through a temp service. I was sorting out shingles. I was shoveling tar. I was moving dirt.
But you're
get a job.
You're also
You know what I'm
talking
saying?
from a different generation's perspective on what it, because a lot of Gen Z, millennial, whatever, what you're talking about is they feel it's slavery, right? So we're talking
That's
about
how they should feel.
We're talking about
them little niggas should
we're
get
talking
it
about
in.
perspective.
Crash the system.
So we're talking about his perspective, and I want to end it on that, on perspective. So thank you for everything, all the information, all the time that you've decided to spend here.
Yeah, we appreciate
and
it,
give
brother.
us your 2 cents, because don't think that the debate is anything other than us brothers building each other up.
Absolutely.
Because this platform is exactly about that. This platform is about, nigga, we need to get together. We need to stop whatever we think it was ain't what it should be right now.
And
That's really what it is.
And we also got to show that three kings can sit in the same kingdom and talk about the same thing and have three different opinions and still walk out just
still
as
walk
best
out
friends
like, hey, you
as we
want dinner,
would when we
nigga?
Right,
started.
but also too, I feel like I must put a conclusion to an important part.
Go ahead.
Was the George Floyd situation.
Yep.
So by doing that type of work, or what I was doing in the streets before the George Floyd thing happened, when the George Floyd situation happened, when the murder happened, it put fire in the brothers that was coming together, that was having these conversations, and it just like it gave the men more purpose. You know what I mean? So it was easier for us to move and mobilize, and you know, it was just easier to do that. And when the murder happened, and when the city went up, and when it was threats being made to our community, when we got word that, oh, you know, you had white people that was driving through in pickups and messing with black folks, they actually shot at some black people and trying to run them over and all that. You know, we mobilized. We were those groups that came together to squash and end beef. When the George Floyd situation happened, those same groups were the first responders that were out there when the police decided they wasn't coming in the community. When our stores were being threatened and things like that, and when people were scared to, you know, going back to like the days when black folks were being chased, when the whole threat of the white boys coming in pickups, those guys were the first responders. You know what I'm saying? We were out there. We just didn't wear certain color shirts.
Right.
But we were out there, you know, they armed, you know, ready to protect. You know what I'm saying? And protect the community. So, and then with that, a lot of good things, so many good things were birthed. So you had that spark that wanting to fight for a reason, for a purpose, and you know, for that time people put it aside their differences, and they saw the bigger picture. Oh man, we can't let this happen, or you know, we found that thing that brought us together, and then from that, that's when we got Black Panthers here now. You know what I mean? So when the Black Panthers came into because before then, I don't know if they were here or weren't not, but when it was like, that's what's up. It was a powerful pride moment. Like, oh, the Panthers are here. So then to learn later,
Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, and then to learn
talking about the Carolina Panthers, right?
Yeah, no, the Black Panthers.
Oh.
Yeah, the Black Panthers.
Just wondering what Panthers you're talking about.
So when the Black Panthers, and then to see that it was my brother from the lodge that was part of it, and my other brother.
Whoa,
you know
whoa, nigga, don't be on drushness on the show. Where we at here? I don't know nothing. I ain't seen nothing.
Okay.
Panthers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he had the Carolina Panthers that day.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Anyway.
Clark Kent. Superman's telephone booth thing.
Yeah. Clark Kent shit.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, but when the Panthers, surfaced, and when we knew we had Panthers in town, it was a proud moment, because
for the brothers.
For the for the brothers, and for the community to see that, because for the community to see certain people who had a reputation and a certain face, and they knew they came from this background, that background, but to see them together, that gave community hope, and it made it opened so many doors to so many conversations with young people that thought that there's this thing, oh, you got to be beefing if you from over here or they from over there. It changed that. Mm-hmm. So a lot of the younger generation were able to see, or the people that we influenced or that looked up to us or inspired by our lifestyle, they saw us working together. Bloods, Crips, Red, Blue, GDs, Vice Lords, BDs, so on and so forth. And then in different cliques, we were able to put those things aside for the moment and focus on a bigger picture. And that was a beautiful thing. And then when we saw the Panthers, again, like I say, it brought back such a strong sense of Black pride. And then with the freedom fighters, to see that, all those different Black movements that were birthed from that situation were beautiful, and like a strength group, it gave us, a stronger foundation, and it was a beautiful time. Like, that was the good that came from the ugly.
Yeah.
Well, one last question I got to ask. I mean, since you're talking about it, and so now I have to ask a question. Out of all that strength and beauty that came out of that time, yeah, it was a tragic time as well, right? But a lot of things blossomed like a rose from the concrete type situation. And so I want to know, now, because ain't nobody talking about it. It's been forgotten about, right? People outside of this state, probably people still in this state, ain't really thinking about the situation. What's your thoughts on the aftermath of the George Floyd, and how does it pertain to you and your life and your group and the groups that you see around you?
The aftermath is, well, to speak on the aftermath, I'm thankful for the beginning, So the beginning of what it created was, it created that space where brothers that usually probably wouldn't talk to each other or probably wouldn't work together, started working together. And the beauty of that is the initiatives and the activities and things that took place from then till now, what kept those relationships together, So to call yourself or to be labeled as a leader or someone of influence, how do you bring that attention back to that group and to keep them in the loop, keep them active, keep them doing something that's about community? That's like our responsibility that we have to do, because if we believe in the seed that we planted and now this thing has grown, we have to still tend to it. We still got to keep it watered. We still got to make sure it gets sunlight. We still got to maintain it. So we still do things even till today. Like we have we do all the things like toy giveaway, food distribution. Uh,
You do.
yeah, we do those type of things, and then we have a toy distribution coming up too for less fortunate families. By partnering with the Toys for Tot campaign, Strength Group will be a part of that. Last year we was able to uh, help out 3,000 families.
Damn.
So this year we look to be able to help out more. Um,
Nice.
and then also back to school stuff too. We take pride in doing that. Because today what that does is, even though guys, they got their 9 to 5, they got their jobs, they got things that they do, but when we come together, and if we're just making bag lunches or if we're helping out at a church or we feeding the homeless, whatever that is, but just coming together to do something good that's like selfless, that's not about us. Not only does it puts us in a good space, but we're able to have those conversations that we miss. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're like, hey man, what you been up to? And that stuff happens. That rekindling of not being able to see. We've been living our lives, but we come together for something positive. So that's what it's all about. And that's what till this day, that's what I thrive to do. I thrive to change that narrative of, yes, we all have a past as far as when it comes down to the streets and all that. We all come from that. And I don't want no one to mistake and think I'm glorifying gang lifestyle and gang culture. I'm glorifying Black unity because that's what it's about.
Yeah.
It's that Black unity aspect is what brings so much change.
I like that.
And it's like we can do so much good. So it's not about my thing is, like I say, to change that narrative of being antisocial. Being antisocial is our enemy as Black people. And what I mean by being antisocial is we don't have no room to be, oh, you're over there and I'm over here. Mm-hmm. We can't be like boundary wide territorial. No, we live here together. Mm-hmm. There's so much we can do, and we look
sometimes
beyond those
blocks away from each other.
Exactly.
Well, it's one thing that we gotta get past and over in order to kind of overcome this hump, and that's dealing with death, because a lot of us deal with death in destructive ways, and therefore we're killing and we're doing a lot to avenge a loved one that has been deceased, and therefore that's just putting our whole community in a tailspin, especially with younger folks from age 12 to 19 that mind ain't fully developed and can't take the concept of death. But either way, that's for another conversation. We probably get it, but either way,
I think there's a lot of mental health aspect you talking about. I can't wait till we talk about mental health just in the mental health month or whatever, because there's a lot that we got to undo.
And just real quick on that.
All y'all niggas got something to say.
We can't real quick. It's time to wrap up.
We got to end this shit.
Yeah, okay.
And I'm sorry. But one thing I do want to do is I want you to tell us what your organization, what your group is called again.
It's called.
And then, tell us what you do.
Yeah.
And then we can kind of clear it out.
We can end it. The name of the organization is called Strength Group.
Where can they find you?
WeStrongTogether.com. WeStrongTogether.com, and we do right now we're doing youth support groups, youth mentorship, Mondays and Wednesdays. So when it comes to how do we deal like the deaf and stuff like that, wanting to retaliate and all that type of thing. One of my beliefs is, I'm sure many people got different beliefs, but one of my beliefs is that comes from lack of how to properly express yourself.
Yeah.
All
together.
Not being able to express yourself, having a healthy space or a safe space where you can express how you feel, knowing how to express yourself, and also how to communicate, but also having active and effective mediators and mentors. We have so many Black men that think when you meet them, when you talk to them, they say, oh, I'm just staying out the way. I'm just doing. That's the enemy of Black people right now. Mm. The Black man who has that mindset, oh, I'm just staying out the way, you're part of the problem.
Some of them is convicts, though, in the world and society make the convicts feel like they ain't worth nothing because they made a mistake or they did something in life that was.
There's a treasure trove of value in that mistake.
I know.
Sharing the story.
I agree.
Okay,
I agree.
brothers,
They have all
brothers.
the story.
On another note, thank you
Yeah.
for tapping in because as you can see, we got a lot to fucking talk about. We got a lot to talk about, and it's a beautiful thing that black men are in this moment and are transparent and are showing everybody that we can be transparent with one another and grow and learn and be better than. So the more to come. Please like, subscribe, and share Gator and Mamba. We out.
Wait.
God damn it.
Because we ain't out yet.
Why?
Because I got to give my shout out to my black business. And so I'm going to give a shout out to Kia Banks, Food Bank, North Minneapolis in the Camden neighborhood.
You're right.
Let
you're
me
right.
shout out.
Go ahead. Shout out yours.
Let me shout out Strength Group, definitely. Also, I want to shout out NB, Nation Business. Also, I want to shout out a new podcast that's coming out, Social Development Network News. So, yeah, I want to shout those out, and make sure you like and subscribe to those. And just we're going to be bringing a lot of informative news and awareness to the community.
Yes,
All right,
sir.
and lastly, I want to shout out Fawn Weaver. Fawn Weaver, as we've been sipping and enjoying this smooth cocktail, whatever. Uncle Nearest, you see this motherfucker empty. That's because we've been sipping slow. But Uncle Nearest, the top bourbon brand in the nation or whatever, black owned by a sister.
Black owned.
Represent all day. We out.
Deuces.